I have a very special guest with me today, Tina Valiant. She is a best-selling author and a national real estate coach and trainer. Tina, so great to have you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Andy, for having me today. I have written a couple of books. I have a bestseller out there called Relationship Real Estate. And I have been traveling around the country the last 2 years doing live workshops and classes. And it's just going gangbusters. I mean, there's a lot of people that need some education out there right now.
There's a lot to unpack here. Let's talk about your first book. How did you get the idea to become a best-selling author, and what did you write your first book on?
Well, it's kind of funny. So my first book was really geared towards women. It's called Finding Your Voice, and it was a vision that I had that I was supposed to write this book. I was very reluctant about it. I didn't want to because it dives into my past, my history, how I grew up, and it's really telling my family's story, which was a bit unnerving. I have to admit, I had to let my mom read it twice before I actually published it because it's really about healing from past traumas and things that have been spoken over us so that we can move forward to success. That book should have been a bestseller, but it wasn't.
Oh,
It was because of the categories that it was in. I was up against Dr. Phil and Oprah, who's going to win against them. So, but it is now translated in 10 languages.
wow, it's incredible. So this was your first book that you wrote, what, like how long ago? 5 or 10 years ago?
No, I actually wrote it about 4 years ago. And then it took me about a year and a half to decide that I wanted to publish it. I wasn't sure. So I gave it out to some test readers to see what they thought. And they were like, Tina, you have to publish this. This book actually unlocked something that's been hanging over me for the past 26 years. And I was finally able to release it because of your book. You have to publish it. So I did.
Oh my God, that is so cool. Yeah, as you know, I'm trying to write a book now, so I'm gonna read that, and hopefully draw some inspiration. So, okay, so aside from the books, which is amazing since you've written so many books right now, talk about your coaching because you said you're a national trainer and you do a lot of coaching. So just talk about that a little bit.
I do. So it's kind of funny. I didn't want to be a coach. That was not part of my whole plan. So I started doing these 2-day workshops throughout Florida, Arizona, and a couple of other places called Relationship Real Estate, which is my second book, which was the bestseller. And the whole 2-day workshop was based on that. So I'm in Orlando doing my first big event, and people kept coming up to me and saying, I want to hire you as my coach. I want to hire you. I'm like, okay, fine. Let me work on it tonight. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll open up 5 spots and let's see how this goes. So I walk in the next day and I'm like, all right, I have a plan. This is how I want to do it. Here's how much it costs. I'm opening up 5 spots. I walked out with 4 coaching clients that day.
Wow. How much does it cost?
So individual coaching for people who are just individually coaching with me, not teams, not brokerages, it costs $3,000 for 14 hours. Now they have 6 months to use their hours because what has happened is when they start individually coaching with me, and I am an intuitive coach. So I tailor each person's coaching to exactly what they need. Nobody's in a cookie cutter coaching program with me. So
It's customized.
they have 14 hours, huh?
It's customized. You like customize it per individual?
Right, based on their goals, their needs, and it's a combination of business coaching and life coaching, because most people need both because they don't have balance. So I break it down for them. We start out going after what their goals are, what their needs are, where they want to improve in their business, where they want to improve in their life, and then what happens is after 5-6 sessions with me, they start getting exponentially busier because they're doing business. That's why I give them 6 months to use their 14 hours, because maybe at that point, they don't need me every single week. Maybe they need me once every 2 weeks. So that's how I designed that program. And that was after trial and error of realizing people don't necessarily need me every single week, right?
Oh,
Then
so
I
this
have,
way they choose, if they want to take a week off, 2 weeks off. And has that worked really well? Like since you started doing that program, like have you started like selling out? Because I know you mentioned before you only had a certain amount of slots. So like, are you like fully booked now? So like if somebody wanted coaching, like they can't even, get you anymore?
right now I have 2 spots available for individual coaching, but then I also have brokerages and people who wanted to build teams that have hired me to go in and either revamp their brokerages completely, make them more profitable, implement new systems, help them hire people. And then I have teams who want to start a team and they don't know how. They need the steps, they need the documents, they need the team agreement. They're $6,000. They get 16 hours. Theirs is
Oh,
much more intense and they have a lot of homework, obviously, because we're building them out. So I'm
yeah.
with them
I
through
mean,
that whole process.
oh, wow. Okay, so you have 2 programs right now, and then I just find it fascinating that you didn't even want to do coaching, but people kept coming up to you because you were speaking on stage, and they were like, "Tina, I need help." And you're like, "All right, you know what? Let me give this a shot." So you basically went in blind and you just created a program from scratch, and you become wildly successful because obviously I know you, and you are speaking around the country right now. So you're getting invited to different platforms around the whole entire country. So I want to hear a little bit about like your speaking engagements now because you travel all the time and you're speaking on stages. Like, how fascinating is that? Like, give us a little bit of stuff about your speaking engagements.
So that again is really funny because never ever as a child did I wake up and say, okay, I want to be an author. I want to be a speaker. I want to train people like that. I was a realtor who came up with a sales system for my team because people kept asking to come on my team. I wasn't even going to start a team. People kept coming to me saying, no, I need to learn from you. I want to be on your team. So I'm like, okay, I'll start a team. Everything I've done has been because there was a need that people asked me to fill. So I filled it. So speaking was exactly the same way. I built this training platform, corporate level sales training for my team. They started winning awards like crazy. And I'm like, okay, there's really something to this. I mean, most of these agents are brand new and they're killing it. So people started asking me to put it into a workshop. So I put it into a workshop. 2 days is grueling for me to be on stage for a full 2 days. I got to tell you right now. So I started breaking it up into what I call mini classes, where I have this whole menu that people can choose from if they want me to come speak at their organization. They get to choose which topic they want me to train on. And then they have to allow me to sell books and also offer my group coaching platform, which I designed this year because, again, there was a need for that. People sometimes learn better in groups. So I started that this year as well, which is going hugely successful at this point. I love my group coaching platform. It is my favorite project I've ever done. Love it.
So when they have you come and speak at these events, are they paying you for this, or is it just like the opportunity so you can sell, upsell like your coaching and your books and everything? Like they don't pay you for this, do they?
They do. They actually do pay me.
Oh,
Last year,
oh,
I did a lot of free stuff because I had to get out there, right? I was like, okay,
yeah.
I'll do it as long as you allow me to promote myself. Like, that's fine. I'll speak. This year, it's been a whole different ballgame. For instance, if I went to Virginia to the Association of Realtors convention and I was a speaker there. They have to pay for my travel, they have to pay for my accommodations, my food, and they pay me for my time on stage. So, just to give you an example, for
Oh,
that particular event, their budget was $1,000 for the speaking itself, not including all of the travel, everything else to fly me up there. I mean, I had my own car the whole time I was there where I had a driver. Like they really pulled everything out for me. But the cool thing about it was they also had a book signing after my 1 hour on stage. I was only on stage for 1 hour. On my 1 hour on stage, they had a book signing. They sold me out. I brought 120 books with me and they bought all of them.
whoa! And they paid you a thousand
So
dollars to speak for an hour?
yes, and I
Whew.
made, think about it, I make 12, $15 a book and I sold 120 books.
Oh, geez, that's how much is that? Like what? I can't even do the math in my head. $1,000, 1,500 bucks, right? It's like
1,500
fifteen hundred
bucks.
dollars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just actually
Wow.
more than that. It was more than 1,500 bucks because it was 120 books. So, I mean, I made about $2,000 just on book sales alone for my 1 hour on
Whoa.
stage, and I didn't have to pay to get there.
And you then sold your courses, like your group and your one-on-ones, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I've focused more on the group coaching this year because I feel like we're in a situation in real estate right now where people are scared, agents are lonely, and even if they're a part of a big group like EXP has some awesome groups out there, LPT has some awesome groups out there, you know, they're like where they're meeting every single day. every single day. Like EXP, George Philbeck's group, they meet every single day and they have content for their agents and they try to keep everybody engaged. But at the end of the day, the agents, once they leave those meetings, they still feel like they're on their own and they're having a hard time getting motivated. And a lot of people are dropping out of real estate right now because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
there's about a 90% failure rate. Correct me if I'm wrong on the stats. I think it's 90%, right? Of realtors that join and then just leave. And I think it's
Yeah.
within like the first 6 months, right?
Yes, it's alarming, the number. I mean, the average realtor their first year is lucky if they sell 4 transactions. They're living on
Was that
poverty
like 30
level at
grand, like
that point.
28,000, right? Yeah, 'cause I remember reading that before. That was like, 28 grand, in your first year, which to me
Yeah,
is absolutely crazy. That's why I had such amazing success when I did my rental strategy. I know we were talking about
yeah,
this, before, about when I did, I think I did 50 or 60 transactions in my first year doing my rentals. And then second year, 180, third year, whatever, even more than
yeah,
that. So like a lot of realtors, as you just said, like they don't know where to begin. They don't know where to start. Yes, we do have amazing teams and everything. But I was also, I was actually, I was listening to a podcast and it was Ryan Pineda and Ricky Carruth. They were talking about how a lot of realtors, like when they start real estate, yes, they do obviously end up dropping out because there's no method to really teach them. Because if like you do a mentorship program like EXP has, which is fantastic and everything, like it teaches them
yeah,
how to use all the systems and everything. There's no like real ROI though on the agents that you bring in because most of them, as you
right,
said, are going to drop out. So like if you bring in 10 agents and in your head, 9 of them are going to drop out, how it's tough to like mentor them and actually want to teach them like, really how to make money because most of these people are not going to be here in 6 months from now. So like it's
right.
tough, even from like a teaching perspective. That's why I do think the coaching works so well because you make people accountable, like they're going to have to
Right.
spend their hard-earned money. They got to give it to
Mhm.
you. They got to be there. They got to show up. They got to do the work. And if they don't, not only are they going to lose out on a future career, they're going to lose out on the money they have to pay for coaching. So
Right.
that's why I did start really enjoying the whole like coaching aspect. Believe it or not, I never used to believe in coaching whatsoever. And my whole mentality behind this, like my girlfriend is a coach as well. She does, marketing, business coaching as well,
Mhm.
and wildly successful doing it. And I never used to believe in it before because I always had that mentality like, oh my God, these people are just like scamming you. They've never made a dollar on their own and they're just making money off of their coaching, which, I really feel like that's the mentality and stigma that people have in their minds. That's why I was like always so
Mhm.
against it. Then I realized, wait a minute, yes, there's going to be bad people in any industry, no matter
Mhm.
what, people like trying to,
Yeah.
steer you the wrong way. But you got to find like the diamonds in the rough. Like you got to find those people that have been there, that have done it, that are genuine and authentic. And then if you hire them, it'll make a world of difference because it's a shortcut. Like you're basically paying to learn what not to do and obviously what to do, but you're paying to learn like, all right, I made this mistake, that mistake, that mistake, don't do this, don't do that. You have to do this, this, and this. And then this way it's going to speed your whole entire progress up. So like I did the exact same thing as you. Like I never wanted to coach at all. And then people just started coming up to me and are like, Andy, teach me your system. And I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, what do you mean? Like, and they're like, well, we'll pay you to teach you, your rental
Right.
system. So I'm like, all right. And I started doing it. And then I started seeing all these results. So I honestly, I think the best way for people to get like the best results for coaches is a coach or like a mentor like creating a course whatever it is that you don't like want to do it like like you said before there's a necessity and a need people are coming to
Mhm.
you. I think that's what makes the best coach because you didn't want to do this, like people came to you to do it, so you're like helping them out. Like what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I definitely think so. And I have a coach and my coach told me, okay, if you're gonna go down the coaching realm, like Gary, my
Oh, you
coach
have a
only
coach?
coaches like 3 people. Okay. Like
Oh,
he chooses very specifically who he's willing to coach. He's been my coach for 5, 6 years now. And he's a national, he speaks internationally now. He is a published author, best-selling author. So like he helped me with some of the pieces that I was missing as they were coming to me. But he told me, he was like, Tina, the biggest thing for you that's going to be frustrating in coaching is that you have to charge people up front. You have to, because if you don't, they're not going to do the work and you're going to be incredibly frustrated. They have to have skin in the
Mm,
game. And I'm like, okay. So I did that. And he's right. People that I have offered to just help don't take it as seriously and they don't put their time and energy into it. Whereas people that actually pay me to coach them, they're in it. They have something to lose with that. So they have to have
yeah.
skin in the game. And
Yeah, that's
I wanted to do the group coaching because here's the thing. Realtors right now, a lot of them are struggling, right? And they can't afford $3,000 to hire me as an individual coach. They can't.
yeah, yeah. How does that work
And
for new realtors? How does that
right.
how
And
does that work?
I don't want people to be left behind. And I mean, there's programs out there like Krista Morshore and all that. They're charging $25,000 a year to these agents. And some of these brand new
Jeez.
agents are getting in and they don't even have the basics or the fundamentals. I wanted to
Oh,
create training platforms that were affordable and that gave them a total and complete roadmap to success. But the other aspect of that is I'm still in the field. I'm still
you're still doing real estate.
experiencing what they're experiencing. Oh yeah, I was at an inspection
Uh,
yesterday.
oh,
Oh
so
yeah.
I honestly didn't even know that. I didn't know you still did real estate because I mean I
Oh
do the same thing. I do real estate as well. So talk about that then. Like, how's your because you've been in real estate for what, like at least 5 to 10 years now.
yeah. 22.
Whoa, oh, you've been 22. Okay. So I'm a baby compared to you. I've only been doing this 3.5 years. So, all right. So you've been doing real estate for a decade. So you've
Listen,
been doing real estate for a long
most people
time.
don't know this, but I'm going to be
I didn't
49
know
in
that.
December. So
Jeez, well, you look great. Yeah. I thought you're in your 30s. So, I mean, jeez, you fooled me.
yeah, 22
No,
years, and
so
I've
that's
had different.
amazing. That's amazing.
I've
So
I've
tell
had
me
different
about this then,
aspects.
because yeah, because you've been doing real estate for a very long time. You're still doing it. A lot of people get burnt out, and then stop doing it and transition to other things. But like you did that, you transitioned to coaching, speaking on stage, writing a book and everything, but you're still doing real estate. So you must love it. Like just talk about your real estate career a little bit. I'm very curious. How much money did you make off of real estate?
Well, so it's interesting because last year I was really building up the speaking and the coaching and that aspect of it. So I have a team in Arizona. I allowed my team to get down to 2 full-timers and 3 part-timers. I wasn't really spending a lot of time in Arizona last year. I was gone 60% of the time, traveling around and doing different things. Florida being one of my biggest states that I do a lot of business
Sorry,
in.
I'm
But over the years, it's not uncommon for my team to close over 100 transactions. I try to
wow.
push everything to them as much as I can because I usually run with a team of like 6 full timers, right? And they
Yeah.
usually do about 100 transactions a year plus. They get all of their leads from just open houses, which is something that I teach. I offered to buy leads. They told me no. They were like, no, don't do it.
Oh. So
And
you're okay. So
so
you focus on open houses.
mhm. Yep, and everybody that's in
Oh.
my group coaching platform, they focus on that now as well. I mean, I have one agent, she just closed $2.7 million in business Monday this week in my group coaching course.
Amazing.
And this girl
Amazing.
almost gave
Amazing.
up real estate 6 weeks ago.
Wow. And then this
Yeah,
is from like, all right. So open houses, because listen, I mean, obviously, as you know, and everybody watching knows this, you got to focus on one niche. You know what I mean? Like you have
you
to
got to
pick
focus on one niche.
something,
Yes.
one niche. Does honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot. Like, yes, I love doing rentals. I think it's amazing for newer agents or agents that are not making a couple 100,000 a year. I think rentals are great, but like, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be doing cold calling, like Ricky Carruth does the Fizbos. Dwayne does the door knocking. Like Tina, you do open houses. Like there are so many different avenues and paths and niches that you can choose. So why did you what like gravitated you towards open houses?
My success. So here's what happened. I moved to Arizona 7.5 years ago. I didn't know anybody other than my family. My ex husband quit his job the day that I activated my real estate license. So
Oh,
literally, we had no savings. We had just moved into a house. I had to close something in 6 weeks or I was going to be homeless.
that's motivation.
motivation. You back me into a corner and obviously I come out fighting. So at the
Oof.
time, I had joined a big box brokerage, and they wanted me to sit in these classes every day, Ignite and everything else. And I was like, I need to be out making money. I can't afford to sit here and listen to you guys. So I scheduled my first open house. They thankfully lent me open house signs, everything, because I didn't have anything. Right. I was just like, we're doing this.
You're
So one
new.
of the agents
Yeah.
let me sit there listing. I ended up selling my second weekend of open houses. I ended up selling the home that I was sitting in to a cash buyer who closed right before my bills were due.
So
And I'm like,
you
okay,
represented the buyer.
I represented the buyer. But they walked into my open house and I sold them on the house. And then I didn't even know how to write an Arizona contract. So I'm literally sitting there writing it by hand. Thank goodness it was cash, because it was horrible. It's completely different than Florida contracts. And I ended up getting her $25,000 worth of furniture for free in the deal too. So when I went back to the office, everybody's like, what do you mean you sold the open house you were sitting? That doesn't happen. How'd you do that? And I'm like, I asked if she wanted to make an offer.
That was it.
And
There's
she
no
did.
secret sauce to this. like,
Like,
like
I asked
did
enough
you?
questions. So I did that 42 times my first year in Arizona.
That's your so okay. So I think that is important to talk about open houses, doing a lot of them, not just doing one every month. Like you're doing one basically every single weekend at the bare minimum.
My team is required to do 2 open houses a week,
Ooh, I like that.
and my part timers have to do 1 a week, every
I
week.
like
And they
that. I
have to
like
give
that.
me either a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't care when they do their second one, but they've got to be out there doing it. It is a requirement on my team. And if they don't adhere to it, they can't be on my team.
I like that a lot, actually. So let
Yeah.
me tell you my strategy. Pick it apart for me. So, because you're the expert at open houses,
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what I like to do, and I found wild success doing this. When I get a listing, right, I post it on the MLS maybe on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then I hold an open house on Saturday, usually around like 12 o'clock, whatever, 11 a.m., something like that, right? And I don't allow any showings whatsoever. I always say, like, in the broker's remarks or the showing instructions, open house coming Saturday, only private showings for like, cash buyers or like pre-approvals or something like that, right? So that's what I do for my listing strategy. And then I incorporate that into doing open houses, but I don't allow any showings whatsoever. And my philosophy behind this, and honestly, I've like literally sold every single house I've done this way on the first weekend. Like I've never like 100% success rate doing this. And all of a sudden, on that Saturday at 12 o'clock, you start seeing, 10, 20, 30, 40 people showing up to this house. Sometimes there's a line just getting home, and everybody can see that there's competition. Like they visually can see all these people in this house right now that are all fighting over the same house. So when people start putting agents start putting offers in, I can tell them, hey, listen, guys, like we got a lot of offers here. Like you're gonna have to, give me your highest and best offer by so and so time. And let me back it up a little bit. So what I do to get this many people, to get like, the 30, 40 people at the open house, I actually list the house for under market price purposefully. And
Mhm.
I always have the conversation with the seller, like, listen, I know it's scary, but you don't have to accept any offer that you don't want. We can do, let's say as an example, a house is going for $500,000. That's like the market price of it. I'll put it up there for like 470, 480, something like really, really low like that. This way,
Mhm.
everybody sees it, and it's like, oh my God, this is an amazing deal. And then they all flood to the open house. Everybody sees everybody there. And then I literally get, maybe 10 offers that weekend. And then they start bidding against each other. So that's like my open house, like listing strategy. Pick that apart. What do you think of that?
No, it's actually very similar to what I do. I do allow agents to bring their clients during an open house though. Okay. Cause like I'm agent friendly,
You
and the
do
more
showings
agents
before.
I meet, the better life is, right? So, but here's my strategy. I put my listings on the market Friday night. We have open houses on Saturday and Sunday. We try not to bombard our sellers if it's occupied after the open houses and all of that. So it does tend to work out that way. I do list my properties less than what I could list them for right now, because buyers are very savvy. They're looking for those deals right now. So I just had one. I could have listed it at 315. It's in Sun City retirement community, right? I could have listed it for 315. I explained to the seller that I wanted more people in the door. I only had a week to get an offer before she came back from her vacation. She's got a dog, she's elderly, everything else. So I listed it at 299.9 because people search in $25,000 increments, especially when you're under the 800 mark. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to list it at 305. I'm going to list it at 299 because that gets us a whole different bracket of people searching, right?
And
I
it
had my
works.
agent there. I was there. The house was bombarded with people walking in. My phone started ringing 2 days before it actually went live because I had it as coming soon. And I'm like, nope, can't see it till Saturday. Nope,
Oh.
can't see it till Saturday. Nope,
Oh,
can't
so
see
you
it
do a
till
similar
Saturday.
strategy. Yeah, you do a
Yes.
similar
And
strategy to
then
me then. You did
what
it coming
happened
soon.
was
Okay.
in this market where nothing is moving, supposedly, I got 8
I don't,
offers that
yeah.
weekend. My
Yeah.
agent wrote 2 at the open
Wow.
house.
Wow. So it works. So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that's like a lot of people right now are saying that, people aren't buying, people aren't selling, but like
Oh, no,
I
they
mean,
are.
I'm not experiencing that. Like
I'm not.
I know the market's different. I know it's not like it was in June of 2022 at the peak. You know what I mean? I know it's not like it was before the pandemic happened, but like there is still activity happening now. So I did actually want to segue into this and talk about the market because you have
Mhm.
some interesting thoughts. Really quick though, I always like asking people. So, all right, you're a successful best-selling author. You do coaching, you do real estate, you have a team and everything. I mean, you're traveling all around. A lot of people like to know how much money are you actually bringing in? Give me a number. Tell me. I want to hear for the past like few years. I want to hear the last 3 years because we had a crazy market. So over the past 3 years, like each year, how much money have you actually made and brought in each year? Like, give me the numbers.
The average for me is about 300.
300K, $300,000. So you're making
Mhm,
about
mhm.
$300,000 after, being in real estate for, 20 years and you're pivoting to coaching and everything. So
Right.
percentage wise, would
And
you
and
say a lot of this?
understand with that, I'm not actually actively pursuing clients of my own as far as real estate is concerned. I take referrals that people ask me to specifically handle myself. Otherwise, I try to give my business to my team members because I may
Yeah.
not be here. Like I'm here till the end of October because I'm teaching classes in Arizona till October 31st, but then I'm leaving for 4 to 6 weeks. So for me, it's not fair to be actively pursuing new clients that don't know me and then me have to leave for 6 weeks and then have to
Yeah,
hand
I
them over to
agree.
somebody else. I try to
Yeah.
hand them over to my team members like right away. That way, if I have to leave or if I have a speaking engagement or I'm not available because I'm teaching classes or whatever the case may be, they know who they're going to be dealing with, but I'm still behind the scenes making sure that it happens. So
Everything's running
when
smooth.
I was doing just real estate,
Yeah.
and that was with a big box company that took a lot of my commission, I was averaging about 200. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
that
the
was after
coaching
paying my
also helped.
assistants. That was after paying
Yeah.
my assistants, paying everything. Once I hired a team, I realized it was very difficult for me to be actively doing my own open houses, working with my own clients regularly. I needed to be available for them. So I pulled myself out of the day to day to really focus on them, going to their listing appointments, helping them negotiate, all of those things. Because there was one time where I had 18 agents.
Whoa.
It is a full time job wrangling up 18 agents. And we were doing on the team, we were doing on an average of 29 open houses a week.
Jesus. Jesus. But it was
Mhm.
working, right? Because I mean, you said
Working.
you were making 200,000 and then all of a sudden now, once you brought the team on, started doing coaching and everything, now you're making basically an extra, was that 50% more, extra $100,000 a year. Because
Right.
what you did in my mind is, because it probably didn't start that way right away. Once you started bringing on a team and changing things, you probably made a little bit of like less money, for maybe like a year or
For a
so. Is
minute.
that accurate? Right?
No,
Because that's
the first year I
no.
made 100,000 more. Yeah.
Oh,
But it
right
was a
away.
lot more, it was a lot more work. But at that time,
Oh, it
so
was.
I get 30% of everything that my team does. I try to be
Oh,
a
that's
very
very
fair team
generous. It's
member.
fair. That's very fair. Yeah,
I
it's very
I
generous.
provide their signs, their lock boxes, their professional photos,
Yeah.
like everything. Like I set them up for success. But
And you give me open
they can
houses.
call me 24 hours a day. I mean, if they need me,
Yeah.
they can get a hold of me. So my phone rings constantly. By the time we get off this podcast, I'm probably going to have 26 text messages,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Oh,
fine
yeah, I'm right there
because
with you.
that's my
Yeah.
role. What I
Yeah.
found was, though, for me, I have a passion for growing other people. That is my passion. Yes, I could go out today and probably go do an open house and walk out with 3 or 4 new clients of my own from that one day, and even probably go show homes that day and write an offer because I never show more than 5 homes. But for me, watching the light bulbs go off in the agents, hearing their stories of success, watching them grow, seeing how excited they're getting, and truly making a difference in their lives, that is what motivates me. So I may make less money coaching. I'm okay with that because I'm doing what I love.
You're fulfilling. You like it's a very fulfilling feeling to help other people.
Yes. And I get to meet people from all over the country. I mean, how cool is that? I just got a text the other day from somebody that I met in Virginia when I was up there. She's a big deal with one of the big box brokerages. She's like, hey, Tina, guess what? I'm going to be in Phoenix. We're getting together for girls' night. Like, like I met her in Virginia. I get to meet these people from
Yeah.
all over and maintain these relationships with these people. And it's so much fun.
I mean, listen, that is very cool to hear that because it sounds like, you found a passion for helping people and you use all of your wisdom and your knowledge for the previous like 20 years and now you're giving it to other people, which I think that's, what everybody should do as we get older, we're supposed to pass our knowledge down to the younger generations. So I think that's, fantastic that you're doing that. And the big question I had, because I know you just mentioned that you're working more now than you were before, which is interesting to me because, a lot of people always say, oh, the goal is to start working less, as like you go like longer into your career. I don't agree with that though. So I want to ask then, all right, so how many, like to make, because 300 grand, that's a lot of money. I mean, what's the average in America? What, like $60,000 or something like that, right? So you're making like, 5 times, 6 times more than the average human being is making in America right now. So like how much do you work, to make that much money?
So it's crazy. Classes take up a lot of my time. Group coaching, not as much, other than when those agents need me, they can actually get a hold of me. Like if they have an emergency and they can't get a hold of anybody and they need help, I help them. So I'm always on call for them now as well. It's like having a separate team is really what it's like, right? I have a
Yeah.
team. And then I'm out, like I'm hiring new agents. I'm up to 13 agents on my team again this year.
Ooh.
So they're all in training mode right now, gearing up for pre-busy season and busy season. So I am working on average right now, probably about 40 plus hours a week. When I
Oh,
have
that's not bad.
everything in, no, when I have everything in, but I
No.
also work hard and then I play hard. So I might like last week I took the week off. My boyfriend was here, right? So
You you just stopped working for a week.
yeah, I still
Wow.
did my
I'm
group
not there yet.
coaching. I still did my group coaching, I had to teach one class that was already on the books, and then the rest of the time I just took off. I will probably take
Wow.
off mostly the month of December.
What? So that's shocking to me that you're making this much money and you're only working 40 hours a week and you could take time off like that. Like to me, that's amazing because I am not even close to there yet. Like, because I know, I've told you before, I work
Systems,
a lot. Yeah, like I
systems,
do I got my systems and processes and everything, but like no,
and
I'm
then the
I'm not even
people,
like,
the support. You need the support
yeah.
staff to like help take things off of your plate that are not your highest and best use of time. And when I'm coaching with teams and brokerages, that's one of the first things we look at is, okay, who's your support staff? Who do you have? Do you have an assistant? Do you have a transaction
Yeah.
coordinator? Do you have like, who are the people that are in your world that are making your world flow more easily so you're not stuck behind a computer? right?
Yeah, I've done that actually. This year, that's what I did. I did bring on a couple agents and they're doing wonderfully right now for me. I got a VA, he's doing wonderfully for me right now. So, yes, all right, so actually, all right, let me tell you this. So, my real estate work, I am doing a lot less than before. I'm still doing a considerable amount of actual real estate, work right now. But because the past like 2 years in particular, I was doing literally a solo agent, no help whatsoever, about 16 hours a day, like maybe 14 to 16 hours per day of actual just grinding and work. That's
Mhm.
how I made the $500,000, last year.
Right.
But no, this year, no, I'm not going to work as much this year. I still can't imagine turning my phone off though. So I'm not, I got to figure out, I got to keep growing
I'm
my
going to blow
system to
your
get to that
mind.
point.
I'm going to blow your
Yeah,
mind.
geez.
Okay. When I got to the point where I was working 14-hour days, my first year here in Arizona, what happened was I went out, I showed 3 families homes. It was 9:30 at night when I was done. I had to go home and write 3 offers. I had like 26 text messages, 29 voicemails, and I just started crying. I was like, there is no way
Whoa.
that I am going to be able to fulfill these people's needs to the best of my ability with so much. I need an assistant. So the next day I hired my assistant, Mariah. Mariah started out part-time with me, quickly moved into full-time with me. But the first year when we started hiring team members, literally we together were working 14-hour days and I wasn't taking any time off. I was starting to get very grumpy, very burnt out, which is what happens. We start to get very grumpy and very burnt out. So we decided that I was going to take Wednesdays off. And by the way, hiring an assistant actually tripled my production.
Whoa.
it,
And
it
then like you're
tripled my
talking like was she like not a virtual assistant,
Oh,
you mean
she
like in
sat in my
person?
passenger seat and answered my phone while I was driving. She would go into my listing appointments with
Oh.
me and take notes. She would write on my contracts. We had a portable printer in the truck. Like literally, she was side by side with me, answering texts, answering calls, doing everything I needed her to do because I can't let somebody else drive me. It drives me crazy. I can't do it. So I would
Wow.
drive. She would be the person answering stuff.
Licensed realtor, right?
Mhm. And it tripled
Okay.
my production, literally tripled.
Geez,
She was with me
is
for
she still
five and
with
a half
you?
years. She was with me for
Five and a
five and a
half
half
years.
years. She's still on my team, and I can still hire
Oh.
her like for little projects and things like that if I want to, but she
Did
needed
you
to
did
take
you
a step
replace
back.
her? Yeah. Did you
I
replace her with a new assistant?
tried. I tried replacing her, but Mariah ran my world. But here's the other thing that happened. I started to become a little dependent. If she
Ooh.
watches this later, she's going to be floored that I actually am saying this. I
Huh?
got a little dependent on everything that she was doing for me. So I didn't learn my systems myself. Like I didn't learn different things because I could just have her do it. It wasn't my highest and best use of time to do it. Well, when I tried hiring somebody else and that didn't work out, and Mariah had trained them on everything, right? I was forced to dive in and learn my systems myself. And so what happened was I've been spinning my wheels for a year trying to figure out a group coaching platform, how I wanted to create it, how I wanted to do it, what should I charge for it. And all of a sudden, I was in St. Pete. I was at another brokerage's convention, hanging out with everybody for the week because I was invited. And people kept coming up to me and saying, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. And I'm like, there's really a need for this. So I came home and I decided to write it's time to write your book group coaching platform, right? 12 weeks. By the end of the 12 weeks, you should be done with your book. Okay. And ready to go to a publisher. I opened
That's
it up to
fast.
12 people to try it out. We started it and I'm like, wait a minute. This group coaching platform, like this is what I wanted to build for the relationship real estate material. And so that day I sat down and I wrote out my whole group coaching course in this platform. And if I would have had an assistant, I never would have gotten to that point. I figured it out on my own, wrote the entire thing, created it exactly how I wanted it. And since then, I've created 3 group coaching platforms, but one is the one that I really, really love. So
So
it
that
all
was a
happened
crutch.
in a process, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but, like,
it
you're
was a
what I'm
crutch.
hearing is it was a crutch because
It was a
you know,
crutch.
yeah, and that's interesting because it's weird because you need the assistant to free up your time, but then once you get the assistant, you start taking off and giving responsibilities to them, you're not learning things, and then if you ever lose them, like, forget it, like, you got set back a
We're
year,
lost. I was
off of that,
lost
so
for a
it's
minute.
yeah, that's
That was
interesting, that's like a
actually
catch-22.
that was part of the reason I didn't hire more agents last year for my team
Mm.
because she did all the onboarding. Like she would get them entrenched. She would set up their open houses. Like she did all of that stuff. So I kind of was like, I went through this period last year where I'm like, am I supposed to be in Arizona? Am I supposed to
Oh,
go
you
somewhere
wanted to
else?
move.
I felt like
Interesting.
my I felt like when she left and I was down to two agents and all of my classes I was teaching were in other places, especially Florida, I was like, am I being called away from Arizona at this point? Is this happening because of this? And I had to take a step back for a minute. I had
What'd
to
you do?
reassess where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And basically, what I did was I created a whole other business
Oh.
on top of what I already had, and that was with the coaching, with the group coaching, with the workshops, all of those things. And then I came back to, okay, I'm building teams and brokerages and filling their seats and getting their agents trained because all of the brokerages and teams that I coach, all of their agents are required to go through my group coaching platform. They don't want to be responsible for training them.
Oh.
They're like, you know what? They can go
And the
to you.
brokerage
You won't
pays
make
you
them productive, huh?
because
What?
the brokerage that, like, basically hires you and then pays you to
Well,
teach
they pay
them,
me to
right?
coach them, and then their agents are required to pay the subscription price of $97.50 a month to be a part of the training platform. And they
Got
will
it.
not
You're
hire
getting
them
double paid.
unless they agree.
Wow, wow, wow.
I have
That's a good
four
deal.
teams right now and three brokerages that require that.
Oh my god. So that's another business that you're talking about, or is that still
Yeah.
like
Well, it
because
was
you just said you
when I
created a
put
business?
together the group coaching, right? I didn't realize when I was putting it together, I just launched a whole separate business. So I've got
Oh.
to promote and I've got to do more live classes to promote it and I've got to do more interviews and I've got like I wasn't thinking that. All I was thinking was there's a need. I have to fill this need because agents are sinking and they need help. So I create this and then I'm like, well, now I have to promote it.
Did you what did you do? Paid marketing? Like, how did you get out there and start
No,
promoting
I've never
everything?
been paid for marketing. It is crazy.
Never?
So all of a sudden, no, I just put it out there. I'm a woman of faith, and I was like, all right, if I'm supposed to do this, start opening the doors. And all of a sudden, my phone started blowing up with people wanting
Wh
classes.
where did you
I
put it
mean,
out? Because this is all organic. What did you
no, I put
where?
it like up to the Lord and said, okay, we got to open the
Well, like
doors.
Facebook,
And so, like,
Instagram, like what
well, then what
platforms?
happened was I started teaching classes. I reached out to a couple of my people that I regularly teach classes for, and I'm like, hey, I'm available, whatever. And then I let everybody know in Florida on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in Florida for 5 weeks. I was booked with classes in 4 days.
Like live in
Okay,
person?
live in person classes, booked within four
And
days
where
for the month.
oh my god, and, so how many people showed up to these classes?
They were in Florida. They were almost all sold out.
Okay, and it was like 30,
Yeah.
40, 50 people there? Something
Yeah,
like a
easily.
look of
Easily. Yeah, we
wow.
even had people like calling me saying, the class is full. How do I get in?
Oh, and then you just go up on stage and you just, like,
Or a
teach
big
or
room
something, big
or
room.
whatever. Whoever asks me to teach they have to plan the venue. I
Oh.
send them the materials they need to print. I just show up, but they have everything set. They have to promote it. I put it on my Facebook and my Instagram too, but they really have to promote. They have to fill the seats and they're paying for me. I'm just the talent
Okay, so
at that point.
Yeah, so you do get paid for these because I know you said before you got paid $1,000 for the National Association of Realtors, when you did
Right.
that, so,
For
like, you're still getting
classes,
so you're getting yeah,
like let's say I'm teaching an hour and a half class. Let's say I'm teaching how the buyer's appointment should really go. Okay. And I'm teaching the whole psychology and how to build urgency during that buyer's appointment. So you're only showing 5 homes. That's a very popular class. I'll charge my host $200 for my hour and a half because it's a class. It's not like I'm up speaking to
yeah,
600 agents, right? So I try to be fair
yeah,
with that. But then what happens is then people sign up for the group coaching on their 97.50 subscription and people buy books and then people start following me and then people start asking about individual coaching. Everything
it
begins with the
opens
live
doors.
classes. Once they hear me,
Yeah.
they want more.
Oh, that's amazing that, you developed all of this from doing real estate because, you don't have to be shoehorned in if you're just like buying, selling, renting homes, whatever. Like you can expand and you're like living proof that you don't have to just do the typical like real estate stuff. Like if you get good enough and you have a passion for helping people, like you can do other things, which is really cool to me. So, what advice now do you have for all these agents now that, we know 90% of them are leaving the industry? Like, what's your advice now for them coming up over the next year? Because you said before that now is a good opportunity for agents to make a lot of money. So,
It is.
what's your advice for agents coming up? Like,
It
what are
is.
you telling a new agent right now coming up?
I tell them, first of all, you need to get proper training on the processes, right? Like you need to have a roadmap for success, no matter what the market is going to do. And that's where agents are falling short. Agents traditionally don't want to pay to better their career. It actually is really, really funny to me. I charge $97.50 a month for the subscription for the group coaching. That's unheard of. And I still have
It's
agents
nothing.
that are like, oh no, 97.50. What if I don't like it? There's no contract. So quit if you don't like it. But you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, right? So agents need to get educated. They need to go ahead and get their certifications, whether in whatever their niche is. They need to hire coaches like you and I, whether it's group coaching, whether it's individual coaching, so that they know how to market themselves. They know how to get themselves out there. They know how to talk to clients. They know how to help people figure out their end game. And they're not wasting their time with people that aren't ever going to pull the trigger, because so many agents right now are so desperate for business that they're meeting this person who's dragging them out to 30 homes, never pulling the trigger on anything, and they're getting burnout and frustrated. Well, it's because you didn't set the expectation up front. You haven't been trained how to build that urgency, how to show 5 homes and write an offer. They're
Yeah,
lacking the training. They're lacking training.
yeah. Yeah, that whole, desperation attempt where you're just doing whatever the hell the buyer or even
Giving
seller
up their whole
says, you know what I mean? Like
commission.
the giving yeah. I just had an agent had to give up their commission because of something similar like that. And I had a buyer's agent that I was talking to the other day that did show like 15 homes. I said, "What are you talking about right now?" I'm like, after the first like one or two homes that you show, you should first of all be able to instantly tell what that buyer is going to want. You know what I mean? Like just from their feeling them out, like going to the showings with them, like you should not show them a property that they won't like, but they asked me, they're like, well, they wanted to see the property and they told me they wanted to see the property. I said, well, did you tell them that they're not going to like the property because of X, Y, and Z? Because you already took them at two houses and it's like the same house you're showing them all over again. And they're like, well, no, I didn't know I could tell them that. Like, of course you could. Like, you are the expert, you're the professional, you have
Yeah.
to guide them along. So, like, no, that's
Agents,
100% correct.
agents,
And
agents need to be decently bold. Decently bold is one of the things that I'm
yeah,
known for saying. They need to learn how to be decently bold and know what they're truly allowed to say, because our time is worth money. And what we do is not just about money, but come on. Like, you need to be smart with your time. I was talking to a very seasoned agent yesterday that was telling me, yeah, I just gave up commissions on 2 deals, blah, 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 because I only have 12 closings this year. And that's like half of what I have on a bad year. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, well, they can smell that a mile away. It's called commission
yeah,
breath. Stop it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Fabulous.
taking a discount like that, no. I mean, it doesn't fly right now. So I agree. I agree. I think agents that are serious about this, they either have to hit the ground running and then devote all their time into one thing, or hire somebody to teach them and show them the way, because it's a massive shortcut. Like, even just for
Mhm.
us, you know what I mean? Like, we did very well in the beginning of our careers. If we had hired a coach, I'm sure we would have gotten, to where we are much faster. Like, that was one thing where I
I
kind of regret.
I am where I am because I had a coach.
Oh, you did from the beginning.
I hired him before I even hired Mariah. I had a coach, and he
Oh,
helped me hone in. Like, I was accountable, like, we would set my goals and I met with him weekly and I was accountable to him for my goals. And if I wasn't doing something, he would call me out on it. Like, "Hey, this is what you said you wanted to do. When are we going to get it
do it.
done?"
Yeah.
But not only that, he
Oh.
helped me, like, he was my sounding board more than anything. Like, I have all of these big
Mm.
ideas and all these things that I want to do. Everybody else, I said, "Hey, I want to write a book," and they're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever," because 1% of the population actually writes a book and publishes it. So everybody says they want to write a book, but nobody writes a book, right? And I'm like, "No, like, I really want to do this." Well, he had already done it. So I had put everything down and he's like, "Okay, let's look at it." And then he read every chapter that I wrote. Like, he was with me through that process. He put me with one of my publishers, and it was somebody that he used. So, like, I had somebody that was like, "Okay, this is what you want to achieve. Now you set the goals. I'm going to hold you accountable to the goals." And then I could go to him and say, "I had this idea. How do I turn this idea into reality?"
Execution. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Oh,
And
I
so
like
he would
that.
help me
Yeah.
process, because you're also a big ideas person. You
Yeah.
have to have somebody that is your sounding board that you can say, "Okay, this is my idea. What do you think?" And then
Oh, yeah.
they can
Yeah.
say, "Okay, are you sure you want to take
Crazy.
that on right now? Or do we need to put that
Yeah.
down for 2 years? Like, we need to get
Yeah.
finished with XYZ first." That's what
Yeah.
my coach did for me.
So you do recommend, if somebody's struggling right now, do it. Just take the leap. You know what I mean? Get a coach. Because also too, I was like thinking about this. When you go to college, how much are you spending every year in college? You know what? Minimum, well, like 15 grand a year, like minimum.
Minimum.
Maybe
Yeah.
probably more. But
Yeah.
15 grand a year for college. You know what I mean? Like what's a few
Mhm.
$1,000s for a coach that's going to actually teach you how to make money, not just like a general curriculum where it's the same for everybody. Like, this is a customized one-on-one thing, or potentially group thing, where they're going to customize and show you exactly for your situation how to make money, how to execute, how to plan, how to take all the steps necessary and hold you accountable to actually doing it. So I 100% agree. So I want to end this right now with one niche, because obviously I do rentals, and you do open houses. That's what you specialize in. So what we just talked about over the past, like, 45 minutes or so, about having the market potentially crashing, what
Mhm.
is, if you want to give advice to a new agent, obviously, picking a niche, what is the niche that you think they should get into now, with this being said, that the market's gonna potentially be crashing soon? What niche do you think they should go for right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing, open houses work really, really well because we have buyers and sellers that are walking into open houses and we're finding them that way. I know that people that are paying for leads and all of that, they're really, really struggling right now because the leads coming in are just not quality leads. Meeting people face to face, networking with other professionals is a great niche for getting out there and building referral based relationships with other professionals. Or, hey, if I have somebody that wants to change their whole stock portfolio, I'm going to send them to you. If you have anybody that needs to liquidate their portfolio of real estate, you send them to me. Like, and really building that network, I think, is going to be key right now, because everybody knows somebody who's going through something or needs real estate.
Yeah, I always say, there's three things, for lead generation. It's always three things. It's one is your niche that you choose, which, like, you just
Mhm.
suggested, open houses. I would suggest doing rentals or open houses, honestly.
Mhm.
And then networking is like a mandatory given. Like you have to just
Mhm.
always be networking, and
Yep.
your sphere of influence, like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
sphere of all the people that you know, like those three things, you know what I mean? That's what you always have to be focusing on no matter what.
But
And I agree, the
niches
open houses work. Oh,
niches
what were you
can
saying?
be like some people want to pay for leads. Okay, fine. But watch your lead spend right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people would rather do open houses. Some people will do a combination. Some people's niches they want to call for sale by owners. Okay, great. You know what? For sale by owners are really going to be struggling right now with selling their homes when there's tons of other homes in the neighborhood on the market. So
Ooh,
they're
that could be a
great for
good
you to
one.
talk to. Okay.
That could be a good one.
Um,
Yeah.
in maneuvering in a distressed market, we actually door knock on the distressed homeowners' homes to help them with their options.
Oh.
So it's a
And
whole different format for door knocking, which is very direct to the people that need us. And I teach
so
that
we're
strategy as well.
so we're thinking open houses, we're thinking door knocking, we're thinking for sale by owner. You're saying to avoid the paying for ads like on like Zillow Premier or something like that. And then obviously rentals, if nobody's going to be buying or selling, people are going to be renting
Right.
properties. So, my rental strategy is also an amazing opportunity to
Yes.
start getting out there and then building future buyers. Obviously, you can get your half a month's rent commission right
Yes.
now, which is for me $2,000. But then obviously you will get your future buyers when the market flips again, and it will in a couple years. The market's going to flip over.
Yes.
So if you work with all these renters now, guess who's going to reach out to you in a year, 2, 3 years from now that wants to buy from you? Well, it's going to be your renter. So I think yes, I
Right.
agree. I 100% agree. And what I always suggest then, because I thought your suggestions were amazing, pick one of them. Like try them out.
Mhm.
Like try doing my rental strategy with the Annabroker advertiser. Getting permission.
And you try it
Try
for at
doing the
least
open
three to
house
six
strategy.
months.
Yes,
You
yes.
you
Try
you
them
give it
out. Like,
time.
try them out. Yeah. Don't do the
Yeah.
ones that you don't think are gonna work. Like we just said that probably not gonna work doing, paying for leads like that. Like probably not the best idea coming up to a crashing market right now. But like try the handful that we just suggested: the rentals, the open houses, the door knocking, the FISBOs, like expireds. Like try all of those out. Give it at least. I always like to say at least, like you said, probably a couple months, right? A few months.
Mhm.
Give it at least a few months, hit the ground running, devote all your time and extra energy into those one niches. And then if you like it and it's working for you, stick with it. Maybe if it's not working, you think you could be doing better, try another one, and then see
Right.
if that works even better. So I 100% agree, because there's
Yeah.
not just like one size fits all. It's not just one answer, like do this and you're going to make a shit ton of money. Maybe you don't like doing that. Maybe you like doing something else better. Maybe you would prefer going and knocking on people's doors as opposed to posting any broker advertised listings. Like maybe you would prefer picking up the phone calls and doing the cold calls for FISBOs. Like maybe you would prefer holding open houses and putting up the signs and the honey look boards and doing all that good stuff. Like you have to try it out and see what you like, and
I don't
then
recommend honey
pick
look
that.
boards.
You don't recommend those?
No.
You think those are bad?
It's distracting and takes away from building the relationship.
Oh, okay, okay, all
And
right.
it's
So
a waste of
no honey
time.
look boards then. Yeah, she's the expert on open houses, so don't do honey look boards at all. Just show up then. Put a bunch of signs out. Put 20 or 30 signs around the block and
Yes.
everything, so people know where they're going, and be personable, and bring your cookies and your waters and everything. And right, you could do that still, right?
You can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Well, Tina, thank you so much for coming on today. I learned a lot. I hope everybody listening learned a lot. Where can everybody find you?
You can email me, tina@tinavaliant.com. You can find me on Facebook. Literally, I'm the only Tina Valiant. Like you can search me, you will find me. You can find me on YouTube. But really, shoot me over an email if you want more information about group coaching. My group coaching is going phenomenal. I'm very proud of those guys right now, and they're from all different states, so that's super cool too. And then if you're interested in individual coaching, or possibly you want to build a team, or possibly you have a brokerage and it's a boutique brokerage and you're struggling a little bit, feel free to reach out to me. I will respond to you. Don't be surprised that you get a response.
Yeah, Tina's very good at responding to people. And yeah, definitely, guys, if you need any kind of coaching whatsoever, she really focuses on open houses, among a lot of other things that she was talking about. If you want rental coaching, where I do my rental system, reach out to me, andy.coleman1186@gmail.com. I'm going to drop it in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hoped that you liked the podcast that we just did today. Hit the like button, drop a comment below, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch everybody in the next one. All right. That was pretty good. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.